Welcome to One Happy Thing, the podcast where three best-selling novelists, Maddie Dawson, Kerry Schaefer, and Jennifer Mormon, explore the silver linings, bright moments, and everyday magic that inspire a kinder, more creative world. One happy thing at a time.
Hey everyone, today's episode is titled Let It Be Easy. And as always, we're going to start by recognizing the challenge. I'm Maddie Dawson, and I'm here with Jennifer Mormon and Kerry Schaefer.
So part of the challenge today is, have you ever been trying to solve a problem or figure out a challenge and wondered, why is this so difficult? But you are determined to figure it out the hard way. Kerry, I think you've got a story.
I am the poster child. I am the poster child for this. If there is a way of reinventing the wheel, I'm going to try and do it. And if there's something that I could do the hard way instead of the easy way, I am going to totally do that too. So I actually, I do have a little story about that. So this happened recently. With the three of us, actually. And this is a story about Jennifer's new book that I want to mention really quickly. So, Jennifer, I'm hoping I get this right. It's The Vanishing of Josephine
Reynolds.
Right? Reynolds.
The Vanishing of Josephine Reynolds. That is right. And this is a funny, not funny story, Kerry. So I can't wait for everybody to hear it.
I think it's kind of a funny story. It all worked out okay in the end. So here's how it went. Maddie and I really wanted to read this wonderful, fabulous new book that Jennifer is having come out shortly. And so we were like all excited about the idea of reading an advanced reader copy. So Jennifer's publicist very, very kindly sent us PDF versions. Now, I personally do not like reading on PDF. It's not my favorite thing. I like to take my advanced copies and pop them on my Kindle, and I can read them there. In a PDF, I can put it on my Kindle, but it won't let me change the font. So I can't. I don't know. Do you guys have that problem?
It's kind of funky. It is kind of funky. You've got to blow up the PDF or enlarge it on your screen, and then yeah, it doesn't work as well. It is a challenge.
It doesn't work. So because I just always think, well, I can be smarter than the problem. I can figure this out. This is one of my life philosophies. So I have all of this technology that I went through to try and figure out how to convert this PDF file into something that would be easier and more pleasurable for me to read on my Kindle. So I put it in a software thing that I have, and I tried to translate it into a usual EPUB format, because I've done this before with other PDFs and it worked great. This one, the publisher had very kindly put a watermark in there so that it couldn't be pirated. Go publisher, because that's a good thing. But what it did was the watermark showed up like a whole page of its own. Like every 2 pages there was this giant watermark, which put the book at like about 500 pages or so.
It was like a dictionary.
I actually tried yeah. So I actually tried to send this to Maddie to make her life easier so she could also read the EPUB. And so she's like, first off, I couldn't send it to her. It wouldn't email because it was too big, which has never been a problem before. And I couldn't get it on my own Kindle by the usual methods either. So I actually had to send it to my Amazon account Kindle, and then I could get it from there. And then I was reading, and Maddie never did get it. And I was like, well, whatever. So I'm reading away, and then there's a message between the three of us, and Maddie goes, Jennifer, I'm so excited. I got my advanced copy from your publicist.
And it's a physical book.
Right. It showed up. So I went into a little, well, what am I, chopped liver? Maddie, she's, got the special deal. And for some reason, she got a real book, but, whatever, I'll just keep reading. And so did I say anything? Did I ask anybody? No, I did not do all those things. I just kept on slogging away, reading my version. And as it turns out, Maddie, what did you do to make your life easier?
I wrote to the publicist and said, can you send this as a Word document? And she wrote back and said, no, I cannot, we're not allowed to send out Word documents. And I said, oh, well, it's very hard to read as a PDF. And she said, okay, I will send you a printed ARC when they're done. And I said, great. And it came in the mail and it was wonderful. I read pages, I read it in the bathtub. I had a wonderful time reading it.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I found out that all Maddie had done was ask. and I and I realized, and I really did realize, because this is a thing for me. It goes all the way back to my childhood. I don't know what happened way back then in that, 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I do it myself.
Yeah.
Somehow Kerry is still stuck in I do it myself mode. And I am not kidding. I've seen like memes on Instagram where somebody's trying to move a couch and they've got like a dolly under one end and they've got the other end and they're rolling it. I would do that. Rather than ask, even the person living in my house, I would probably ask. If I'm walking across the room and I need to open a door because I have my hands full of something like a hot pot of soup that I'm taking out to the garage, which is our extra fridge in the winter, do I ask somebody to get up and open the door for me, or do I put the pot down, open the door, pick up you
Well,
can just guess what I
well,
do.
well,
So
well, well. I
why
want
do
to
you
say
think?
I admire very much the way you have that spirit of doing things and learning things. I am a wimp who calls
No.
on everybody else to do stuff. Like I was like, there's no way I can read this the way it is. I obviously need a book to make it work.
And
So
it was so easy. That's the other thing.
it was easy. It was easy.
But I
But
think
you
the
know, I just
message here too is sometimes all we need to do is ask.
yeah.
And if they say no, they say no. If they don't have a printed arc or if there's no one there to open the door for you in the soup, Carrie, it's okay. Because I love your independence and your ability to do it yourself. But there are moments where we encounter where we don't even think about pausing for a minute and saying, you know what, could I ask for this? Because it's always going to be a no if you don't ask. But
Right.
imagine how much easier some things would be if we literally just took the easy way, which is to ask for help, ask for a copy of a book. A lot of times people are so willing to help. They're just
Often.
waiting. Often they're just
Often.
waiting to be asked.
Usually. And
You-
that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, so in another part of my life, I'm actually you may not guess this from my previous explanation of my behavior, but in another part of my life I am and have been a mental health counselor. So, I'm always working with my clients about things like, could you ask, why is it difficult to accept help? Let's have a look at that. Because life is so much easier if we let other people help us, and it doesn't make us weak and it doesn't make us needy. It just means that we're being human and maybe letting other people have a chance to be the helper for a change.
That's what I have found, actually. I mean, I'm always so pleased when somebody asks me for help. I have a friend who is recently widowed and she's very introvertish and she's coping on her own. And I just feel like I want to help so much. And I wish she would ask me for things. The other day she did call and say, could we go for a walk? And I dropped everything and went for a walk just because she will never ask. But I want to take meals over. I want to do all these things. And she kind of wants to do it herself and she needs to cope the way she feels about it. But everybody wants to help.
They do. Some people, that's their love language is to like service, acts of service where they really love bringing food over or going for a walk. I think there's part of our brains that have been wired to say, no, I'm good. And someone says, hey, let me know if you need anything. And you say, I will. And you never do.
I
And
know.
there are moments where you do. And I've had to tell my mama, ask me. I
Yeah.
am so okay with helping you do whatever. Like, just ask me. Because if I can't do it, I promise I'll let you know. You're not
Right.
putting me out. You're not inconveniencing me. The publisher is excited to send printed copies to two wildly successful authors like the two of you. Like, they want you to have a book. So they would have been so pleased, Carrie, for you to say, hey, you know what? My PDF is 600 pages long. Could I get a printed book? I know they would have said yes.
I wonder, and here's the thing. I think that we all walk through life with filters. I totally believe this. Each reality is completely different. The reality I'm living in is different than Maddie's, different than Jennifer's. It's definitely different than the Vikings who I live with here in this house. So, what we see is kind of what we expect to see.
Mm,
So I maybe have a little mindset filter that I might want to adjust, which says that life is hard. I have to work hard for anything that I want. So maybe part of finding the joy in the one happy thing is
mhm,
shifting that a little bit so that
mhm,
we can actually see when something's easy instead of trying to take the harder road.
mhm. So, Carrie, what piece of encouragement or advice would you give to our listeners today based on the story that you shared with us about, hey, let's let it be easy? What would you say to them?
I think just that really is like lots of times things are not as hard as you think they're going to be, and it's okay to ask. It's
Mm, yeah.
people do want to help, and asking for what you want. It's I'm still laughing because it never even occurred to me. It never even occurred to me to ask. It wasn't that I was like, oh, I should ask, but I don't want to bother anybody. It was like I didn't even think of it. So maybe my advice would be to stop and ask, is there an easier way?
Jennifer, I
Love
think
that.
you brought up a really good point too that we should think about in connection with that, and that is making it clear to people that if they ask and we can't do it, we'll really say that we can't. So then they don't have to feel guilty about asking,
Right. Right.
and because that's what we all feel about asking, right? Is that, oh, we're inconveniencing somebody, we're making it so much tougher for them. And if only we're reassured that they won't do it if they can't, they're not
Yeah.
going to really put themselves out and hate us for asking.
I totally agree. Well, Carrie, thank you for sharing the story today. I know it's going to help people because I know they've been in similar situations, maybe not with the PDF and a book, but with going about the hard way when there was a lot easier way to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We actually want to take a minute to ask you, our listeners, to think of one thing that maybe you could make easier for yourself today. We'd love to have you share it in the comments um, after this episode, or email us at onehappythingpodcast@gmail.com and let us know, what your one thing that you might be able to make easier would be.
And thank you for joining us today. We invite you to join us for the next episode, which is going to be about living a grateful life.
Thanks for tuning in to One Happy Thing. We hope today's episode brought a little extra joy your way. If you loved it, help us spread happiness by subscribing and leaving a review. And join us next time for One Happy Thing.
Yeah, yeah.